Joe Biden has been endorsed over the weekend by Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. I don't want to hear from them, but I'm just going to tell you that they did that. Jesse Jackson endorsed Bernie Sanders.
Right.
There's a kind of Super Ash Tuesday tomorrow featuring North Dakota, Michigan, Washington State, Missouri, Mississippi, Humpback I, Idaho. There are 352 delegates up for grabs. Is this endorsement by Cory Booker or the endorsements by Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, are they going to be beneficial to Biden? Will this endorsement from Jesse Jackson, who Bernie Sanders endorsed when he was running for president, will this be impactful? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Ironically, Kamala Harris endorses Bernie Sanders after the election in California. I'm sorry. Endorsed Joe Biden after the election in California. So that's a little okay.
But do you think it would have helped before?
No.
All right.
But I mean, but if we're going to talk about strategy, let's talk about strategy, right? Like if you are the senator from California and you're going to endorse Bernie Sanders, why not endorse him before the California? Biden. I'm sorry. If you're going to endorse Joe Biden,
really?
Why not endorse Joe Biden ahead of the California primary? I don't know that Cory Booker and Kamala Harris are going, individually are going to say, okay, this is what's going to turn the tide for voters in Michigan or voters in Iowa or voters in Mississippi or whatever the case is. I don't think, and I've said this before and I got a little heat for it, but I don't think the Jesse Jackson endorsement does a whole hell of a lot for Bernie Sanders, right? I think that younger black voters who are interested in Bernie Sanders are going to be interested in Bernie Sanders without Jesse Jackson. It's going to be very hard for you to get older black folks, people who are my parents' age and a little bit younger than my parents, because my parents are in their 70s, to vote for anybody other than Joe Biden. Joe Biden is somebody that they know, somebody that they respect, right? And for most of the people in my age category, we don't have the same relationship with Jesse Jackson that other black folks have, right?
What are the black folks?
Older black folks who actually have.
What relationship do older black folks have with
I
Jesse
think, people who saw Jesse Jackson run in '88 and actually win a state, people who saw Jesse Jackson go and get them hostages and bring them hostages back. I have a recollection of that, but for many people who are younger than me, who are in their 30s and their 20s, a lot of what their association with Jesse Jackson is their association is him, being on a hot mic talking about Obama. And talking about Obama talking down to black folks, right? And so Jesse Jackson is meaningful. He has a very meaningful place in history. I do not think that his endorsement moves the needle for any new black supporters for Bernie Sanders. However, I just don't think it does.
Okay.
That's my one personal opinion. You know what I mean?
Right. And again, people, we should have these discussions. It's not personal. I have, it's an interesting period to be in where you just laid out some of Jesse Jackson's history, and I want to be respectful because the man did live a life of service, but it's a complicated history, it's complicated. And for me, I come into it with spending the day with Martin Luther King's blood on him and doing media shortly after. I didn't like that. I wasn't around for it per se. I don't remember being a conscious human being, but I've studied and I read, and I feel like in many ways he's part of the problem of the last 50 years in the black community of so-called black leadership somehow personally benefiting and becoming extremely wealthy while not a whole lot has happened in neighborhoods throughout this country as a result. Now, I'm not going to say Rainbow Push has not picked up some of the mantle. I know Fred Hampton's bread basket, before there was Jesse's bread basket, Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party did a lot with the Rainbow Coalition, which Jesse picked up. Jesse Jackson's organization became Rainbow Push. But what has really happened in terms of galvanizing black folks and poor white folks and all of the things that Martin wanted to do with the Poor People's Campaign that Fred Hampton was doing in Chicago, never carried forward in Chicago under that leadership. And I'm going to say the same about Farrakhan. Y'all can at me if you want to, because I really feel like in many ways it's been a whole lot of charismatic Black leadership without a whole lot of results and receipts.
Yeah.
And we need to have that conversation too, because as we move forward, I say we do away with charismatic Black leadership. And I say the Black agenda, which we mapped out here last Wednesday and started having a conversation about, should be delivered by a council of people we never see.
I see what you're saying.
Because ultimately, from corporate America, who literally writes checks to check a box to say I've supported Black people, to organizations where that money, I don't know where it goes.
Right.
Because I haven't seen neighborhoods built. I haven't seen tech programs built. I have not seen education programs. I haven't seen the results of the checks that are delivered to these organizations, which I know for a fact, corporate America, they're doing that.
Yeah, I've written some of those checks.
Literally giving checks to organizations under the guise of Black leadership so that they can go back and feel corporately responsible. We've given millions of dollars to Black people.
Yeah.
But Black people aren't getting the money. The Black leaders are.
Yeah, and I can tell you as somebody who used to write those checks is that most corporations look at those dollars that they spend. You know how old Black folks talk about the tithe, like that. Listen, God said I need to give this tenth, and whatever the pastor do with that money is on him. I did what God said I'm supposed to do. Now, the pastor can set that money on fire if he wants to, but I did what I'm supposed to do. Corporations are like old Black folks that tithe. That I'm going to write this check to insert the blank organization that we all know. We've all been to the breakfasts, the banquets, and the luncheons and the galas, right? We gonna write that check. Now, what they do with that money, because they are Black, they know Black people, they know the Black community, they're in the arena. Our job is not to be in the arena. Our job is to support the people who are in the arena. That's the best that we can do. But we're gonna give them this money, and now what they do with it after that,
don't come to us and say we're racist, because we gave the check.
And when somebody internally says we're racist, we want you to defend us.
And don't they give out prizes at their conferences?
More often
I'm saying
than not.
something right now, and I need us to have this conversation.
A lot of it is insurance and air cover.
So if a company is racist, and that said company gave millions of dollars to the people who are supposed to hold those companies accountable, are they more or less likely to hold those companies accountable? I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Y'all do with it as you may. Maybe this is a good bump. Maybe it's not. There's a story circulating about Joe Biden's what's being whispered in back rooms regarding what his team will look like. And I bring this up because Trump is a great example of what a team should not look like.
Yeah. Great example.
There's a lot circulating about Joe Biden's mental health. Let me just go on record. I don't care if he has one brain cell left. I'm voting for him. I don't care. Because here's what I also understand. There are people around him who are going to be running Ronald Reagan, his entire last term, he had Alzheimer's and was consulting oracles. Okay? He was not lucid, but you have a team.
Yeah.
And what I'm looking at right now is the potential of a dream team bolstering, which only Biden can assemble right now, to pull in the people who can put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And by Humpty Dumpty, I mean America, because it's cracked.
Right. And listen, the endorsements don't mean as much to me about what it says that Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, and all of these other folks are going to drive a whole hell of a lot of new voters. What it means is that these people who are elected congressional leaders are saying, this is the guy we want quarterbacking. This is the guy that we want to work together with. Part of the Joe Biden's superpower is his relationships. There's a reason why Joe Biden was down at the church in Selma, and he was sitting on the dais with the pastor and the elected officials who were there, and people like Bloomberg were sitting in the audience having to look up at him on the stage with the pastors because he's been in that church before. He knows that congregation. Part of his superpower has been relationships, and that's one of the reasons why I think he went He went to Mississippi knowing that he was going to get Mississippi anyway, and he went to church, but he also went to Tougaloo College, which is one of the oldest historically black colleges, universities that doesn't get a lot of airtime and a lot of press. And he got on the stage with Mike Espy, who's running for Senate in that state, and he got on the stage with other black elected officials and people who are running in the state of Mississippi, and talked and did a whole voter registration effort at Tougaloo College that was live streamed all over the country. That is thinking about this thing from the standpoint of down ballot. That is thinking about this thing from the standpoint of the team that will actually help to execute all of this stuff too.
And the reason why I brought up the relationship between corporate America and some of our institutions led by charismatic black leadership is because that's the same. You know, you want to say Joe Biden is pandering, but it's only pandering if we allow it to be pandering.
Yeah, we can always ask for something.
No, we will ask for something. Right. It's only pandering if we allow for our vote to just be cast and we don't get anything in return, and that's our fault. That's an us problem. So we're going to correct that. As I was reading this article, I think, was this in Axios? And they were laying out different things. One of the things that stuck out, first of all, they were like John Kerry, who ran for president, would love to take a cabinet position devoted to climate change, or he might even want to be Secretary of State again because he was Secretary of State.
After Hillary Clinton. After
Hillary Clinton stepped down because she wanted to run for president.
He helped negotiate the Iran deal.
Did he? Look at that. Susan Rice.
Wasn't he involved in the Paris Accord as well?
Probably, because he was Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Susan Rice was supposed to be Secretary of State, but she got wrapped up in, what was that, Benghazi?
Yeah.
I don't think Susan Rice should be a part of this.
I think after what she did with the Snoop thing.
Out of pocket for that shit.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
You officially have told the world, I'm good with politics.
Right. I agree. That was that disqualified her. And
Susan Rice has so much money.
Does she?
Oh yeah, Susan Rice.
Why does she have so much?
Stupid wealthy?
Why is she stupid wealthy?
I remember reading about like how her and her husband got so rich, but they are like stupid rich. They were stupid rich before she joined the Obama administration. Because I think there was this thing about all the really, really wealthy people who were part of the Obama administration, and she was like, I think, the second most wealtty person behind.
All right. How did she make $50 million? Let me get this story. Wait, really?
Oh yeah, Susan Rice is rich.
Okay. So yeah, she should sit home and threaten people. Like what she's been. We don't need you in this administration, Susan Rice. Go ahead, sit home. You could call. You could threaten me. Yeah. I'll sue you and get some of this $50 million. No, right. I won't even sue you. You got to threaten away.
Shit.
I like this name, Sally Yates.
Oh, me too.
Being floated around. Sally Yates is a yeoman. She's a hero.
American hero.
It's the deputy attorney general under Obama who stood up against Trump and got fired, but she wouldn't stop.
Yeah. Went down to the Congress and got and told the truth. She went down there and told the truth about what was going on in the current and present danger and threats to the administration, and did so unapologetically, knowing that it was going to end her career, knowing that she was going to be attacked, knowing that she was going to be attacked by a president that's super, super petty.
Ha.
And didn't care.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Mike Bloomberg is also being floated as the head of the World Bank. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know about that either.
Listen, if he pours $1 billion into the primary, I think he should be able to say what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Well, let's not talk about that yet.
Yeah.
Let's get elected first.
Okay. So I say we treat Mike Bloomberg like Voldemort.
Yeah.
Where we take his money, but we do not say his name.
Right.
And I think that's
we can maybe say a super PAC's name, but not his name.
Your name. You're a little tainted, sir.
Yeah. Let Mike Bloomberg
Americans
just go and
for
chill.
Getting it done.
Yes, I like that. I like it.
I like that.
That's
too.
how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. Let Mike Bloomberg sit at home and write checks and support these candidates.
They're floating out Jamie Dimon and maybe the chairman of Bank of America for Treasury. People are not happy about Jamie Dimon.
Listen, I don't know about that.
I do like their other idea for a Secretary of Treasury, though.
Who? Anne Funakane?
Elizabeth Warren.
That would be dope. Elizabeth Warren, head of the Treasury?
Yeah.
She's a bankruptcy lawyer expert.
Just got to remember the risk, though. Massachusetts is a Republican state.
For now.
For now.
Yeah, listen.
But the governor would appoint a Republican senator.
True
Yeah.
facts.
I love it, Elizabeth Warren dealing with anything to deal with money because listen, what she did at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was amazing. It was yeoman work. But I'm not. I see a lot of people really upset about the whole Jamie Dimon thing, but. Listen, Jamie Dimon is one of the most brilliant executives in the history of banking and financial services. And if Jamie Dimon can do in a cabinet position what J.P. Morgan Chase and Jamie Dimon have done in the city of Detroit, we're not talking about a corporation that just went out and wrote a check. We are talking about a bank that used some of the money that they have, and they did $150 million investment in Detroit, and they have receipts for what that money got them. I'm talking about like real actual receipts to the number, and they just pledged another $50 million to invest in Detroit. Housing values are up in Detroit right now. There's a whole list of, they can actually tie back to the over 15,000 people in Detroit receive services to improve their financial health. They went to communities of color specifically to do this. And listen, does J.P. Morgan Chase and Jamie Dimon or banking in general have some history? Yeah, but if you look at what they did with Detroit and how other corporations are now trying to replicate what they did in Detroit for places like Baltimore, for places like Newark, it is the model to do it. And so an executive that could do that with his company's checkbook, I would trust him to do it.